No notification.
Excellent. Good morning, everyone.
Okay. So I'll start
Okay.
with this brief introduction, then I'll hand it over to you. Forgot to mention that.
Yes,
Right.
thank you.
Okay, so good day everyone. Today our guest speaker is Alejandra, and she's going to be talking about featuring data in Power Query through Excel cells. So the financial modeling community is being brought to you by UrBizEdge and being sponsored by the Financial Modeling Institution. So the financial modeling institution is a respected institution when it comes to financial modeling. They have some certified, you can get certified in financial modeling, and they have few courses which you could take. And if you ever want to take any of the exams, you could reach out to us. Um we have coupons which you can apply to get the exams at a discount. Then also again, the community is also being powered by UrBizEdge, and UrBizEdge is a registered Microsoft Excel financial modeling, business intelligence, data analysis, and enterprise solution firm in Nigeria, which focuses on helping companies and professionals be on top of their business data. They're also the developers of the Nigerian financial markets analyst tool on the Microsoft Office store, which you can check out. They also offer online classes and physical classes, which I will send details in the chat box. But let's get straight to the presentation of today. So today our speaker is a chartered professional accountant in Canada. She's a Microsoft certified Excel expert who have been working with Excel for over 20 years. And she has experience in empowering organizations and individual Excel in minimizing time entry data, automating reports, and also finding inefficiency. Hello. Hi. Alexandra.
It's Alejandra. You keep mixing
Alejandra.
her name. So
It's okay.
over to you now, so
You.
you can share your screen and take
Thank you
control. So
so
it's your
much.
show. Yeah, you're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. I really appreciate everyone who is here, and I'm just seeing that people are chatting, so I will get to the chat as soon as I can and just say hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very honored to be here. I appreciate the opportunity to present to the community, and I'm really excited. So, well, I had a great introduction. There is not too much else that I have to say, so I really appreciate that you have me here. I know we have limited time, so what about if we just get started here? So I just love Power Query, and I cannot wait to express and share all that I can about this wonderful, wonderful tool. So just let me quickly move here my screen and start sharing. For some reason, it just doesn't want me to allow me to do that. I just tested. Okay, so perfect. And let's share the screen. And that is this one. Perfect. Here we are. And so the goal today is to show you how to connect our query and how to filter that information based on cells in Excel. So I find that very useful. I really I like it. So I hope you find that info also useful, and that you can learn a new tips and tricks here, let's say. And for some reason, it's giving me trouble. We just tested though. Oh boy. So just 1 second. It's just the excitement of the
Oh,
live. Perfect. Okay, so let me share the final product. So this is what we're going to achieve today. These are the cells already filtered. I'm going to say I can get the minimum and maximum date from my files, because sometimes we have the files that we need to work with, but we really don't know exactly the range of the dates that I have in that specific file, right? So let's say my files come from the 2018 to 2019, and let's say I want to filter the information from 2018, let's say the January, and sorry about that. Let me move this. Yes, live television is just likes to make me nervous here, and it's the first time that I'm presenting here, so I'm very happy to be presenting. Okay, so let's say I have from January 2018 to August 2018, and let's say I want a program that is, in this case, is rec centered, but I'm going to change it for fitness. I go to my table, I right click, and I refresh. So by doing this, is the first time that is refreshing this morning, so it takes a little bit longer than usual, but when I'm working with this information, I could just see this being refreshed. Just as you can see, I have from 2018, from January to July, because July 31st would be the latest date that I could see. In this case, it's July 28. So as you can see, I asked for August 1st, me being the maximum date. So I can see that it's filtered by my fitness program, and I have all my information there. Every time that I add information to my folders, all the information is going to be transformed, right? So this is the final product that we're going to have today. I'm going to open a new workbook. I'm going to go and move this over here, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you quickly what the files look like. So I have in here on my demo, I have two files. This is 2018 and 2019. I have other files on my folder, so I want to show you how to filter information to get only the files that you are looking for. So all the files have the same structure. All of them here, all of them start in the same column. All of them start in the same row, have the same headers, and all of them have the date, program number, program name, GL category, subprogram, and the value, which is the amount, right? So we have 2 years in this case, and this is 2018, this is 2019. And let's go to a blank work. Once I'm here, I'm gonna go to data, get data from file, from folder. Here, the information that I have saved, I have it on my desktop. And demo is my folder where I have my files. I'm gonna say open. Here is gonna show me the list of the files that I have in there, Ctrl+Shift+ to zoom in. And I have 2 lines with the file that I'm looking for, and I have one TXT file and one with the solve file. I can combine, but if I can combine and transform, then what Power Query is gonna do is gonna help me or try to help me by creating some folders and a function and a parameter, a sample file, and the final product. So I don't need that right now because I'm gonna create several queries. So I want to try to keep my query section as clean as possible. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna transform myself. So I'm gonna go to transform data. The Power Query editor opens. I'm using Microsoft 365. And here you can see that my query is called demo, which is correct. I'm going to leave it as is right now. I can see that here on my content column, I have my files as binary. That is exactly what I need. And this is the name of the files. Look, the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to Ctrl+Shift+ to zoom in. And I can see that I have different extensions. So let's make this let's bring some consistency on this column. I'm going to select the column. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say transform uppercase. And now that I have that consistency, because Power Query is case sensitive, recognizes between uppercase, lowercase, then I want to make sure that Power Query is going to capture exactly what I need. And in this case, with this consistency on the uppercases, can be uppercase, lowercase, doesn't matter, as long as I can have that consistency that I'm saying. So now that I'm here, I'm going to right click, text filter equals. By doing this, what Power Query does here on the formula bar, it recognizes that I want to keep only those files with extension XLSX. So saying that, now I'm happy to see that anything that I can save in that folder, that is PDF or TXT or CSV or wherever it is not going to be brought to my query and it's not going to break it. So now that I have this, I have another thing that I need to filter. I have a solve final. Now, I don't want to have that. I want to make sure that I only bring the files that I need. So what I'm going to do here, first, I'm going to go to the top of the column. I'm going to click at the row, and I'm going to say text filter does not begin with here. And first, does not begin with solve. And also does not begin with that teal. That teal that looks like a wave, right? So that teal means that the file is open. If the file is open, for Power Query, is like having two different files because the wave, and I believe it's an exclamation mark as well. So that wave shows Power Query that is a different name of the file. And if I don't filter this, if I bring it and if for any reason one file is open, then Power Query will double that information. So I don't want that. So I'm gonna have that teal to be removed, let's say, from my columns, right? So as you can see, I provided a solve with the lowercase s. So because I want to show you how we can deal with this, right? So I'm gonna say, okay. And as you can see, I still have solve here. So I'm gonna go here to the formula bar. If you don't see it, you can go to view and make sure that you have a check mark on the formula bar. Once you're here, I'm gonna say, I want to have this solved. And at the end of the text start with, I believe is, no, actually, I believe it's in here, in solve, comma, and I'm gonna say ignore this, compare ordinal ignore case. So don't worry if it's uppercase, lowercase, doesn't matter. Just bring wherever says solve, and I'm gonna enter. And now you can see that my line with solve has been gone. So that is very useful when you have different people preparing your files, and sometimes people save it with lowercase, uppercase. So by doing this, you are safe bringing any of those files and just making sure that you provide the correct text. Excellent. So I'm gonna just quickly rename my steps here, and I'm gonna say this is gonna be my filter XLSX. And my second filter, I'm gonna press just F2 to edit. This is gonna be my filter, and this is gonna say open files. I know what that means because I always do the same steps. So for me, I know what this means. For you, just make sure that it's something that is meaningful to you. And it's very important to have these steps renamed, because when you go back to your query and you're trying to figure out what you did, then it's very helpful to see, oh, yeah, I see what I was trying to do here, or I need to go to a specific step that we will do today. Then we have that step very well identified and just go there and save time, right? So excellent. Now that I'm here, I need to extract the information from these files. How I'm going to do that? I can do it from using a few techniques. In this case, I can add a column, or I can use a function, a formula. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the formula. So I'm going to go here to my formula bar, and I can click at this FX that it says add step, or I can go to my last step, select it, right click, and select insert a step after. Let's do that. When I have that, this step is referring to the previous step. For that reason, it's bringing this table. This table is exactly the same that I have in here. Let's go to our custom step, and I'm going to name it extract content or print content, something like that, right? So I'm going to say extract content. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the formula bar, and I'm going to say table transform column. Here, table transform columns, and I'm going to open parentheses. And what this formula is asking me is a table. The table is coming from my previous step, this filter open files. I'm going to say comma, going to go to the end, press comma, and I need to provide a transform operation. What is that? So it says applies transformations of the form of, and it's giving me a list. A list for Power Query is the curly brackets. That means it's a list. So inside of that, I need to provide the name of the column that I want to transform, and I need to provide the transformation, what I want to do with that column. So what I'm going to start doing, I'm going to open the curly brackets, and I'm going to provide that column. The column is content, right? So open quotation marks, and make sure that you are spelling this correctly. So capital C, and I'm going to say content. I'm going to go outside of the quotation marks, comma. And what is the transformation? What do I want to do with that? Well, I'm going to need to tell Power Query each is kind of a mini function, and it's going to say, okay, please process the following, right? So this is each, And I want to extract the content of the Excel file. So I'm going to say Excel workbook here, Excel workbook. This is the one that I'm looking for. I open parentheses, and I need to tell Power Query that I need to look in every single line of this column. To do that, I need to provide the underscore. That is telling Power Query to look at every single line. So another thing that I can tell Power Query from here is, please, when you're there, promote the first line as headers. And here, if I provide a comma inside of the Excel workbook, I have the option to say that it says use headers as any. So I want to tell Power Query true. Please promote those that first line as headers. I'm going to close the parentheses for the table transform columns, and I'm going to press enter. Now I have in here in my column content, I have the content of those files, right? They change from binary to a table. Now, this is the column that I want to keep. I don't need anything else. You will see that we have much more information, but I really don't need that. So what I can see, I have the folder path in here. So I don't need that right now. So I'm going to select my column content, right click, and remove other columns. This is the only column that I want to keep. And because I know I'm going to provide the files for you to practice and to follow along when you are watching this video. So I'm going to show you how we're going to change in the source where my files are coming from, right? Because when you download those files, this is going to change. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go actually to home. I'm going to create a parameter. I'm going to go to manage parameters, new parameter. I'm going to call it my location. Can be my location, my directory, my location file, anything that makes sense to you. But for now, I'm going to leave it as my location. You can change the name later on. And I'm going to provide a text and any value, that's fine. And what I'm going to do, I should have copied that. So let me just copy that from here. Here, I'm going to say Control C. And I'm going to paste that information right here. And I'm going to say, OK. By doing that, I have this in a more dynamic way when you have the files in your own computer. So you can just change this for your own location, and that will work. Now, what we're going to do, I just need to connect my query to my parameter. I'm going to go to my source. I'm going to remove this hard-coded location. I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to say my location. That's what I'm going to replace for. And in this case, there won't be any change. But in your case, now your location will bring all the information correctly. Okay, let's go to our last file, our last step, and I'm going to call this keep content column. Excellent. Now that I'm here, I need to expand this information. This information is telling me the name of the file, is telling me that it transformed the information from that specific sheet. It transformed that, brought it as a table. The name of the sheet is 2019 and the kind is a sheet. Okay, so I just want to bring the information that is coming from my data column because that is the table that Power Query brought, right? So I'm gonna click at these two arrows on the top of the column and I'm gonna remove all the check marks. I'm gonna select data. I'm gonna remove the check mark and use original column name as prefix. I don't want to do that. So I just want to bring the data content and I'm gonna say, okay. Once I'm here, now I can see that I have the tables with information that I just showed you at the beginning, right? So what happens if when I said, let's extract the content here on my Excel workbook, if I hadn't provided this true, I'm going to select it. I'm going to select the comma and the true. I'm going to Control X to remove it for now. And if I go to my last step, if I look at the tables, you can see that the first line is the headers now, because I didn't ask Power Query to promote it. That is the purpose of here, providing that last portion of the formula, right? I'm going to Control B to put it back. I'm going to say Enter, go back to my last step, and now I can see that I have that information as my headers. Perfect. So I'm going to say expanded data. Perfect. Now let's expand this information. I'm going to click at the two arrows here, and I'm going to bring all the tables, all the columns, right? I'm going to say, okay. Once I'm here, I can see that all information seems to be correct, and I'm going to go and see the dates. You can see that the data type has not been identified because this information is coming as a text. And how do I know that? How do I know that this information has been brought as a text? I know because there is a little square just beside the title of this column, and it says ABC 123 is not really recognizing this as a date. It's not recognizing as a number either, because if it recognizes as a number, it could give me an error because these are not recognizable as numbers. So that's why it's a mix between text and numbers in all the columns, right? So even here with my numbers is a mix. So what I'm going to do for this specific example, first I'm going to rename my last step, expanded columns. And I'm going to select one column, Control-A, to select the whole table. I'm going to go to transform, and I'm going to detect data type. By doing this, I'm sure that now I have this information well identified. This is date. I can see here, date is this little calendar on the left. When I need text, it will be ABC, and when I need whole number, will be 1, 2, 3. I can see in here that I have ABCs, and with my numbers, I have that 1, 2, 3. Perfect. I don't have decimals in my data. That's why it's bringing this data type as whole numbers. So now that I have this, I still don't know where my files start and end. I know that I have files for 2018 and 2019, but really, do I really start in January 1st, 2018, and do I really finish in December 31st, 2019? I don't know that until I start sorting my information here. To do it more dynamically, because when I'm running several reports, really it's very hard to open all the files and get that information in a very quick way. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to duplicate my query. And let's start identifying that information. I'm going to right click at my demo query, and I'm going to say duplicate. Once I'm here, I'm going to rename my query, and I'm going to say my min date, my minimum date, right? So there are several ways to do this. I'm just showing you one, okay? The one that is easier for me and faster in certain ways. So you may know something different and better, go ahead and apply it. I'm just going to apply this technique this time. So I'm going to select this column, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to drill down. Once I do this, what I ask Power Query to do is create a list of what I have in that column. It created a list, and it's really just brought me the information that is on the date column from my previous step. My previous step is bringing a table. This is my previous step. This is the table. And now what I said is just bring me the information that is in the column date. That is all that Power Query did. Now, because I have a date, I can now say list min. I can use that function, list min, and it's going to bring me the minimum value of that list. So open parentheses, I go to the end, I need to provide a list. That the list is the one that I have here that is coming from this step and this column, and I'm going to press enter. This is my minimum date. Now I know what is the minimum date of all my information, right? So I can bring this to Excel, and I don't need to go to the query, or I don't need to be opening all the files to know that. Let's duplicate this. I'm going to right click to this query, and I'm going to select duplicate. I'm going to rename it. I'm going to say that this is going to be now my max date. I'm going to say max. I'm going to say enter. And now I'm going to change, instead of maximum, I'm going to ask Power Query to bring me the formula list max. I need the same source. And now I know that the latest date of my data is December 28, 2019. Perfect. Now we have this information, which seems to be correct. Everything seems to be fine. What I'm looking here, I really don't need the program number. I don't need the subprogram number. I can delete this information here, these columns, and create another step, or I can go back to my step, expanded columns, and I can see here, I have all those columns hard-coded, right? So I can double click there, to that step, and I can easily just remove program number and subprogram number. So I don't want those columns. I'm going to say, okay. I could have also removed those names from those two lists. This is the name of the column, the original name, and this is the name with the one you want actually to rename the name of your columns, right? So I could have deleted, but if I deleted from here, I had to make sure that I deleted from my original list and then deleted from the list that I want to rename my columns by. So saying that, I think, oh, and now because I have the change type, Power Query hard-coded that information, and it says the subprogram number. Of course, we don't have that anymore. I can just delete it from here. Same thing with the program number. I select it up to the comma, and I'm going to say delete. I'm going to press enter, and now I have my table back, right? So another thing you could have done, you could have just delete this step and detect the data type, but well, we are here, we're done, excellent. Now let's see, and let's start bringing this information to Excel. I'm going to go to home, close and load to. And here, I'm going to bring everything as connection only, because if I don't do that, then if I bring everything as a table, then Power Query is going to give me several tabs, one table per tab. And I don't want that. I want to have everything in this specific sheet because I want to show you everything at once. So I'm going to only create connection, and I'm going to say, OK. Once I'm here, I can see my query, my demo query. I can see my parameter and my two other queries, my supporting queries, let's say. Let's go to demo. I'm going to load to, and I'm going to load to as a table, and I'm going to load to, let's say here, E. Yes, because I want some room for the other queries. So here on E2, and I'm going to say, OK. It's going to bring me all the information, right, that I have. Now, I'm going to go to my minimum date. I'm going to right click. I'm going to say load to, and I'm also going to load to as a table, and I'm going to load to on B2, and I'm going to say, OK. Once I'm there, now it's visible to me. Every time that I have to refresh my table, it's visible my minimum date. Now let's do that with the maximum date. Right click, load to, and I'm going to load that into a table on the existing worksheet and here on C2, and I'm going to say, OK. Now I have an idea when I'm preparing my filters, the range of dates that I can sort or can filter my information by. So let's go here and let's create that. I'm going to say date from. This is where I want to get my information from. And this is going to be my date too. So once I'm here, I'm going to say, OK, now this is where I'm starting. So I'm going to say 2018. I'm going to say June 1st. And my final date will be 2019, 5/31. Let's say, let's bring it from June 1st, 2018 to May 31st, 2019. I'm going to be here inside of any of these four cells. I'm going to go to data from table range. I have headers on this table, and I'm going to say, OK. Once I'm here, I can see my table is called table 4, and I'm going to say, I'm going to rename this query as filter date from here. And the first thing that I need to do, and this is very important, because if I leave this Ctrl+Shift+ to zoom in, if I leave it as is, it's going to keep the time, and I don't need the time. Power Query changed the data type, and I changed it not as I need it. So I don't need the time because this is not going to match with my data, right? So my data only has the short date. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just replace what I have in here. I'm going to click on that square, and I'm going to bring just the date. I'm going to replace the current info. I'm going to do the same with the date too. Pardon me. So I'm going to go to that little square. I'm going to replace it with the date, and I'm going to say replace current. Now I have the dates that are going to be able to match the information that I have from my files. Now that I have this, I'm going to duplicate this query. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to say duplicate, and I'm going to get my date too. So I'm going to go back to my date from, and from my date from, I'm going to click at this date, that is the only line that I have from this table, I'm going to right click and I'm going to drill down. Okay, the only thing that Power Query did is from the last step, from that table, brought me the first line. That's why the 0, Power Query is 0 base. So the first line will be 0, the second line number will be number 1, and so on. So in this case, from the table, it's bringing me the first line that is on the column date from. That is the only thing that Power Query is doing. But now I have this number in a dynamic way. So every time that I change this information in Excel, this information will change here. Pardon me. So let's do the same, but now with the date from, date 2. So I'm going to click at that cell. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say drill down. Once I'm there, I'm going to just get this information and let's start filtering our query. Let's organize this. Our queries are quite messy right now. So I'm going to select anywhere inside of this blank space on demo. I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a new group. My new group will be filtering queries. And that's going to get my last 2 filters. I'm going to select one, press and hold the control key, select the other one, and I'm going to just drag them. Okay, I drag them to that folder. Now I have my minimum, my maximum date. Let's say that is going to be supporting queries. Right click, new group, and that will be supporting queries or helping queries. Anything that like that for me helps. And I'm going to select them, drag them, and one more folder for parameters. In this case, I just have one, but sometimes I have several, so it's good to have the habit to make that folder. Okay, now I have my main query, my demo query, and now what I can see, let's start filtering and let's start organizing this information. So the first thing that I'm going to do, let's say I'm going to go here to date. I'm going to click at the row and I'm going to select just one date, wherever it is. I just want the Power Query help me with the coding. So what Power Query is saying here, please use this formula. The table select rows. Select only those lines that meet the following criteria. Okay, from this table, that is from our last step, change type, process the following. Find in the date column anything that matches to this criteria. Okay, I don't want that. I'm going to delete that and I'm going to replace with my own criteria. Okay, and I'm going to replace with my filter date from. Okay, equals filter date from. This one is here. Okay, replace it with that. And now I don't want that, just replace that, but I'm going to say that is greater or equal than this date. And also I want that, I'm going to copy all of this. I'm going to go to the end and I'm going to say, and I'm going to add one more condition and also make sure that the information that you're going to look for is lower or equal than our filter date 2. And let's see what happens, right? So right now we have lots of information. I'm going to press enter. And now what Power Query did, Control-Shift-, to make it a little bit smaller so you can see the content on the table. Now I have the information only for those specific dates. So date from start from June 1st to May 31st from the next year. So now I can see here on my table, I need to start on June 1st, must be equal or greater or equal to June 1st. So start in June 2nd, which is correct. And now let's see, my last date ends on May 31st, 2019. So I can see that my filters are working properly. And I provided that information on my Excel cell. So this is the thing that is so useful to me. So now that I have that, I can see here that is a little bit unorganized info. I want to make sure I can sort by the date or I can sort by the values. So let's do that. I'm going to sort by the values. I'm going to just click at this arrow just to bring this drop-in list. And I'm going to say sort ascending so I can see my minimum value and my maximum. Okay, perfect. I'm going to go to home, close and load too. So I just want to create connection. I don't want to bring more queries. I don't want to bring more tables. And I'm going to say, okay. Here I have the information filtered by these steps. Let me make this a little bit bigger. So if I change this as 2019-1-1, enter, I can see here on my filter that I have information currently from June to December in 2018 and from January to May in 2019, right? So I'm going to close that. I'm going to right click to my table and refresh. And now I can see that the information that is coming is only included from January to May 2019. Excellent. I see that my filters are working properly. So I'm going to make a break here. I'm going to take a break here and check if there are questions or if there are comments. Do we have anything out there?
No, no questions, just comments.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. I cannot check all the comments right now, but I will check them out later. So thank you so much. Excellent. Okay, now let's keep going there. So now that I have this info, what else can I do, right? So when you see that the potential of this, I know sometimes it's easier just to bring information in pivot tables and filter from there, but there are times that we need to provide information in the form of that table. For example, sometimes the auditors are asking us info to provide some details for a specific period of time, and we need to provide all the details there. So this technique is very helpful for that. And let's add one more filter. Let's say now I want to bring only a filter for the program name. Okay, in this case, I'm going to improvise. I'm going to create a list of the programs or the subprograms. Doesn't matter. I'm going to create that just right here, just to make it work and to show you. And in this case, I'm going to say, I'm going to use the unique function. I'm going to say equals unique. I'm using Microsoft 365, so I'm able to use these formulas that is available in Excel 365 and Excel 2021. So I'm going to say, I'm going to select my array. And in this case, let me see, I'm going to select the whole column and I'm going to say enter. I just need to bring all the unique programs, and I'm going to say Control-C and just paste as hardcoded number, let's say as values. And let's say I'm going to bring the title here, and I'm going to paste that here, and I'm going to select all, Control-X. I'm going to create a new tab, and I'm going to paste it here. So now, and I'm doing this because I want to create a data validation. So I'm going to say, again, program name. I'm going to create a data validation. So anybody who is sorting or is filtering this information will be able to select only the items here. So I'm going to go to data validation here inside of the data tools. So data validation, and I'm going to provide a list. The list is, I can find that list over here on my sheet tool. I'm going to click here and I'm going to select that, and I'm going to press enter, and I'm going to say, okay. Oh, something happened there. Oh, it's because it brought me sheet 2 twice. Okay, I'm going to delete that and I press enter. Now I'm able to see the list. Oh, I don't want program name. Let me go back to my data validation. I'm going to go there, data validation, and I'm going to remove the first line. That is number 2. So I'm going to change it for number 3. And here we have the 4 programs. Excellent. I can provide more information in the data validation for the purposes of this example. That's fine, just to make it work right now with this. So now that I have these 2, I'm going to be inside of any of these 2 cells, or I can select the whole range. That is 2 cells. I can go to the data from table range. My table has header. I need to provide a check mark, and I'm going to say, okay. Now I have one more query, and this query is going to be called my program. And the only thing that I'm going to do there is I'm going to right click here on the first line of that table, and I'm going to say drill down. We saw how useful it is just to do that. What Power Query does is from the last step, it brings the first line from my column program name. And that's the only thing that Power Query is doing. That's why it's bringing this information. So I'm going to move this to my filtering queries. There we go. And now let's go to our query and let's filter our programs. Let's create the formula with Power Query's help. So I'm going to uncheck all the programs. I'm going to select aquatic right now. And I'm going to say, okay. Now I have the information only with aquatic, but now I have this hard-coded. I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to reference to my program query. Once I'm there, and I press enter, keep your eye on here because I have aquatic, but in our program, we have arts and culture. And sure enough, now we have arts and culture that meet the criteria from the dates that we have from January 2019 and to May 31st, 2019. Perfect. I can see that my queries are working. So I'm going to go to home, close and load to, and I'm only going to create connection. I don't want to bring anything else. I'm going to say, okay. Now I have this information ready. I can use it, as I said, for any of the purposes that I need. And let's say recreation centers. I can right click and refresh, or I can go to data, refresh all, either way works. And look, our information is updated in no time, right? So now let's see what happens if I bring additional information, right? I have here 2020 and 2021. So let me go to my demo folder. That's where we're referencing our query right here with the 2018, 2019. I'm going to copy these two files, select them, Control C. I'm going to go to my folder demo, Control V. Now that I have them there, the files have the same structure, same column names, same number of columns. And now let's go to our file that we're working on. And first, I'm going to save it. I'm going to press F2, F12, and I'm going to save it here. And I'm going to say that this is going to be solved live. I'm not very creative with the name, so I'm just keep going with something that I find that works for me, and then I just change a little bit here and there. So now that I have saved, just in case. So I'm going to go to data, and I want to refresh on my query. So I'm going to go refresh all. Now you can see that the maximum day has changed to December 30th to 2021. Now, if I want to filter information to 2020, let's say December 30th, right? If I go here to my table, let me right click and refresh. And now I have more information that is included in the year of 2019 and the year of 2020. Excellent. It's in no time. You saw how fast, how quickly, and how accurate we get the information from Power Query. So let's get back here and see if there are questions or comments. And thank you for the emotion and the reactions over there. Thank you so much, everyone. So is there any comment, any questions? This is in general what I wanted to show you. I hope you got some new stuff here or something that you already knew that is kind of refreshing your mind. So please let me know in the comments what do you think, and I'm very, very glad that I was able to present that in here. Okay.
No, so there are no questions at the moment, actually. Okay. But okay. So the ask when are you doing the course?
Yes.
So when were you doing the course?
Okay. So can I stop sharing my screen then? When I'm doing a course. Yeah. I need to. I really want to try to get my courses. It's just I haven't had the time to really complete the whole thing. My God, it's a lot of work. I thought it was going to be very easy, but it takes a lot of time. So in the coming months, probably in 2-3 months, I will complete all of that. But yeah, I'm planning on bringing some kind of basic courses and start bringing a little bit more awareness what is from Power Query. But yeah, I'm hoping I'm gonna get to that point in the next couple of months. So thank you so much for asking. Thank you, Federico. Thank you. Yes, I'm seeing the comment from Aminu. I hope I'm pronouncing correctly. Thank you so much, Federico. Yes, first student is in the list. So I'm looking at the comment from Aminu. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing correctly. It says that it's just wondering if we can sort out these days with a pivot table. Yes, definitely you can use a pivot table. You will need to bring all that information. You will need to not filter your query as we did. You can bring all the information and you can filter with your pivot table, no problem. I'm bringing this technique because it really, sometimes we need to bring those details. That table, as I show it, we need to bring it as is. So instead of bringing this as pivot table and then later getting the details and created another table, right? So might as well we just bring this information from Power Query without the need to create that pivot table. So you can definitely bring that or filter with the pivot table, but in this case, it saves you a step of creating that pivot table and getting the details only for those specific days. You absolutely can do that, okay? And I have another, it's fast. Yes, I am sorry that I went a little fast, but I was a little bit worried that I wasn't going to finish on time. Thank you so much. I hope I will pronounce correctly, Ismael. I hope I pronounced it right. So yes, I am sorry I went a little bit fast, or I wanted to make sure I finished to show you all that I wanted to finish. And also I had time for the questions because I have watched other videos and sometimes there are quite a bit of questions. So I wanted to make sure that I was available for all that info. So yes, thank you so much for the comment. And yes, the files will be available, same the solve file. So I'm going to pass that to Benny or to Michael so they can link that information in the comments or in the video. So yes, for sure.
Yeah,
Any other comments? Oh, no problem, no problem. Okay.
So no other questions.
Okay. Excellent. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your session.
No problem.
The video and the data sets will be available. The video will be available on YouTube. So I've posted the link, but by Tuesday. Then for the software, like she said, she will pass it along and I will put a link to the file in the video description.
Excellent. So. Yes, please. And any questions, even after the meeting, feel free to reach out. I'm available in LinkedIn. I have my YouTube channel. I have actually two. Yes, I have two YouTube channels, one in Spanish, one in English. And then you can.
I was trying to find the link to the English. I couldn't really find it. Like I know you gave it to me on the Meetup page, but Meetup is down at the moment, and so the page not loading. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, yes, I will provide that to you. Let me go here very quickly. I'm going to provide it in the chat because, yes, I think there are several Alejandra Horvath in the world. But in Spanish, not too many. So let me provide it this because every time that I search for myself, because I need to provide the link, I find several Alejandra Horvath. But when I look for Spanish, then I'm the first one. So anyhow, so I provided the link to my YouTube channel in English. Oh, you did already. So thank you so much, Michael. You are ahead of me. I'm just too slow here trying to see things here and there. So yes, you can find me there. I'm also on Instagram. In Instagram, I'm not too active. I just really publish any of the new sessions that are coming. I have a live session every Saturday at 8 a.m. Sorry, my time, Mountain Daylight Time, which is, for example, right now here is 7:48. I believe for you might be 4:48. Maybe.
No, right now it's 2:48.
Yeah, so probably your time will be at 5. So every Saturday at 5, your time, I have a live session with questions that come to me or something that I want to show. So they run around 1 hour and we go just like we did it today. I show the process, I give the files, and then I answer questions.
Well, how can people like sign up for it or register for the sessions?
I just do it in my channel. Just go to my YouTube channel and it's open. Anybody who wants to join is open.
Is it any of the YouTube channel, the English, any of them? Is it any of the YouTube channel, either English, so any of them at all by 5 o'clock?
Okay. Yes, I got you got a little bit. I'm not too sure if I yes, both. I'm just in. Okay, perfect. Yes, thank you.
Federico had answered that is in both. We wanted to know if it was going to be on your English YouTube or your Spanish YouTube.
Or Spanish. Yeah, the Spanish is on Tuesdays. but that is at night my time. So at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. So probably for you it's in the morning, like at 2 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, because I have one person who joins from Spain, and this person comes at 2:30. He said that he's coming at 2:30 in the morning. So it's maybe probably around your time too. So you're really welcome to practice your Spanish at 2:30 in the morning if you want to join, for sure. So excellent. Okay, learn Power Query in Spanish. Yes, that's right, Federico. You're right. Let's learn Power Query and Spanish both at the same time. Two by one, 2 for 1. Okay.
That's good.
Excellent. Thank you.
Questions.
Thanks so much for for this session. Like actually, I learned a lot, and everybody learned a lot from this session. So at the end of every session, we ask our speakers a bit about just tell us how they got started. So how did you get started in budgeting, with financial analysis, with data analysis?
So I'm an accountant by profession. I'm a CPA in Canada. I started my accounting journey back in 1992. I finished my bachelor's in 1996, a long time ago. So yes, I'm an accountant by profession, but I really don't enjoy general accounting as much as I enjoy the analysis. Little by little, I started learning a little bit more what the numbers are telling you, and that's how I developed my skills in Excel in general. Because with the software that we had back in the office, back those days, it was just so much time spending on copying and pasting and manually trying to figure things out. So that's how I started getting more into Excel, and I just got in love with the tool. It's just fantastic. Once I was there, I was trying to figure out the best practices, let's say, and then the numbers start kind of making sense. So that's how I started. I started in the, let's say, general accounting, and little by little, I start seeing that the numbers are telling you so much more. It's telling you a story. And that's how I started getting there. And when I came to Canada, I have in Canada more than 16 years. So that's when I started learning advanced Excel, and I just couldn't believe it. So I was like, oh my God, all this time that we can save, right? So and now I can pay attention to the numbers and pinpoint items that need attention. And this is what it really will help the organization. And this is what is harming the organization. Let's pay attention to what is causing something, let's say, extra expense, is making us lose money. But now I can figure out what is the source of that loss, right? So that's what I got very in love with, what is the analysis of the data. So that's how I start.
That's a really interesting story.
Yes, thank you.
What about those that want to get started? Do you have like any advice for those that wish to get started?
So yes, make use of the tools that you have available. Try to learn. I know the analysis is the goal, but if you don't know how to use the tools like Power Query, like Excel, like Power BI, if you don't know those tools, then it's going to be very hard for you to have the time to analyze the information. If you know, you don't need to be a pro. You don't need to learn all the advanced stuff, but you can start learning, start extracting the best that you can from the tools, and then you have the time to start analyzing and start making sense of numbers, right? So there are so much courses around here and there. There is so much information that you can start from the basics and little by little practice. When you can apply that into your everyday work, you will see the progress, and then you will have more time to understand and start digging into the analysis. And that would be my advice. Make good use of the tools and then get started, because that will free you time to really focus on that. Okay. So yeah, that would be my advice.
That's a really great advice.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. I'm sorry at the beginning things start not working. I'm like, oh my God, no, and I get to start freaking out. But thank goodness everything turned out well, and maybe that's why I went fast, like just in case. so, so thank you so much. Thank you for your understanding. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like Federico said, live TV can be mistakes, like technical errors can happen on live TV. Thanks something Federico usually says.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so Alejandra,
Excellent.
it's been a very wonderful session. I don't want to hold
Thank
my
you.
camera so that we are recording just you right now, so and that's why I have to keep it off. But it's been very wonderful, and we are grateful that you accepted to present, and we hope that will
Thank
also
you.
happen in a future session. And a lot of people um, joined more than the people you are seeing now.
Oh,
At the point, it was
thank you.
maybe like up to 30 or so. But I think towards the end, people wanted to go somewhere, I guess. So we hope that maybe in the future too, you again maybe come present something else. We'll be happy to have you. And when your course is ready, let us know so we announce to the whole community.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for having me. And I appreciate that. I would be happy to come back. It's a little bit hard for me. It's at 7 a.m. I'm not a morning person, so it was very hard to wake up, but I'm very happy to be here. And thank you so much. Yes, I'll be here. I'll be having some presentations around here and there. I'm very excited. I'll be speaking at the My Data Summit in Spain. It's the biggest event that they have over there. So I'm going to be speaking there. So this is kind of training. I start at 7 there too. So as long as I have the time available, I will be very, very happy to come back.
Oh, thank you very much. So
Excellent.
also thank you to all our special attendees because you're all special. Every time we see you join, we don't take it for granted. You have other things you could be doing, and it's a pleasure. And we are happy that you enjoy learning with us. And that brings us to the end of today's session. And we want to say have a wonderful week ahead. And thank you once again, Alejandra and Federico, and everybody who has said something in the comment. Let me just mention a few other names I see: Ismail, Aminu, and everyone. We appreciate you, and Anthony Lafa for always joining. And so I'm going to end this session now, and I'm saying thank you to all everyone, and have a wonderful week ahead. Bye.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. Thank you. Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you for being here. Bye.